Hey everyone, Pete Williams from preneurmarketing.com here, and what I've got for you today is something a little bit different. We're right in the middle of award season. You've got the SAGs and the Oscars and the Emmys and all that sort of stuff happening in Hollywood right now. Speaking of that, big hello to Bruce Cast, who's I'm sure working his butt off right now, consulting with a lot of the big film producers and companies like that to sort of help them with their awards. So Bruce, best of luck if you're working hard. And what I've decided to do is put together my own version of award seasons. My awards for the last 12 months in the space of marketing and business growth. And just in a few other spaces as well, actually. Now, I'm not quite sure what to name these. I thought calling them the Preneurs, but that's a bit wanky. I thought about the Halberts, after Gary Halbert. And then I also thought about Shit Weasels, because of Gary as well. For those of you who know Gary's stuff, you know he's a lover of the term shit weasels. So I thought it could be cool to call these awards the annual shit weasels, but the connotation doesn't really match with award winners. So if you've got any good ideas, please let me know. And I'm about to go through sort of different categories of things that affect our lives as marketers and business owners and entrepreneurs. And I'm not going to try and do a Ricky Gervais. I'm going to try and be a little bit more politically correct here as I go through. So in different categories, I've got 4 or 5 nominees. And then I'll let you know about the winner as well. Below the video too, there's links of where you can find out more information about all the nominees. Some of them are affiliate links, just so you guys know. But I really recommend all of these for their own merit. Now, the first category we have is Best Software. Now, there's 5 nominees, and they are OmniFocus. Now, OmniFocus is my lifeline. It allows me to actually manage my to-do lists in a very manageable way, funnily enough. So that's a fantastic piece of software. The second one is MindNode, which is my preference to doing mind maps and things. It has a iPhone, iPad, and Mac app. They all sync together and do some fabulous things that way. And you'll see later on in another section why MindNode is one of my favorite software programs. Another nominee is SimpleNote / Notational Velocity. I've combined those two together. They are a fantastic way of transferring text files across multiple devices using the cloud. And it's been a fantastic revelation for me of actually taking all this and applying it in my workflow. Speaking of workflow, the next nominee is Dropbox. Now again, Dropbox is an amazing cloud-based tool that allows you to sync any sort of file across multiple devices. It's been a fantastic tool for working with my outsourced team, whether they're my Ninja Pinos in the Philippines or some of my video guys in Spain or designers in the US and things like that, and even internally in the office in Melbourne actually, funnily enough. It's been a great little resource. And the final nomination is to Optimize Press. Now, for those of you who might not know about Optimize Press, it's an amazing WordPress theme that can take over all your squeeze pages, your launch sequences, and your membership sites. It's only about $100. It's yours for life. You can put on as many platforms as you want, but it is simply an amazing piece of software. Very similar to Kajabi, but a lot more cost effective, and you get a lot more control out of it, in my personal opinion. So, the winner of Best Software, it actually goes to Optimize Press. I've actually been using this software quite a bit along a number of different platforms and launches I've been running at the moment, and it's been simply amazing. One of my Ninja Pinos, Florence, has been managing all this for me, and she had only used WordPress for 1 day prior to actually experiencing Optimize Press, and she's built 3 or 4 membership sites for me now, some launch sequences, some squeeze pages. She understood that and got hold of it very, very quickly. So James and the boys over at Optimize Press did a fantastic job putting that program together, and for the price point, the value you get, I don't think you can beat Optimize Press in this year's awards. The next category we'll move on to is RSS feeds. Now, I've categorized blogs, Twitter rolls, all that sort of stuff into one category, which is RSS feeds, because most of them I actually consume through Google Reader as my RSS consumption device. And side note, Reader on the iPhone and the iPad is a great tool, and they've actually just released a Mac software platform version as well. So the nominees for Best RSS Feed are Tim Ferriss's 4hourblog.com. Great resource for all things about life hacking and now body hacking, which is a really great resource. Writes very, very well. Takes a lot of time in putting together his blog posts, and I think it's a must read for any serious entrepreneur who wants to sort of get the most out of their life and their body and their utensils, I guess. Next best RSS feed goes to Google Webmaster and AdWords. Google actually produced an amazing blog series that you can subscribe to, where they tell you about different services and platforms and things that they actually are opening up and how to use them in the best way possible. And I think it's an undervalued resource from a lot of online marketers. A couple of fun ones for you next as other nominees. Texts from Last Night. A great Twitter feed that I absolutely love. Some of it's not quite safe for work, but I really do enjoy it as a way to sort of chill out and relax and have a bit of fun and a good laugh every now and again. Another fun RSS feed goes to You Look Nice Today. This is Merlin Mann along with Lonely Sandwich and a couple other people as well who just do an amazingly funny podcast about basically nothing. It is the Seinfeld of podcasts, in my opinion. Very, very funny stuff. And finally, the last nominee for RSS feed goes to Small Business Big Marketing. Timbo and Lukey over there have the #1 podcast in Australia for marketing a business, and they interview a range of entrepreneurs on a fortnightly basis, I think it is, talking about how they run their business and how they actually grow their business and how they market it and all that sort of stuff. And it's really, really interesting. I would highly recommend you go and check out a recent episode of the show about Yellow Pages. They actually had a sales manager for Yellow Pages Australia on and, shall we say, grilled him about the effectiveness of Yellow Pages. The winner for RSS feed of the year goes to Tim Ferriss and the 4hourblog.com. Out of all those different RSS feeds, for whatever reason, I hang for Tim Ferriss's blog posts because they are very engaging writing, very, very left of center, definitely makes you think. So he's one of the RSS feeds that I just cannot get enough of. The next category only has one nominee, and this comes down to best technique. This category is all about what technique would I say would be the best technique that I've learned and implemented in the last 12 months. Well, it's a technique that is pretty simple when you think about it, but it has absolutely increased my capacity to create. And obviously, you know, in 2011, you got to really switch from consumption to creation. And this is something that Ed Dale speaks about quite a bit. And this technique has allowed me to do that and do it very, very successfully. And it's a technique by mashing together outsourcing video and MindNode as the software program that I mentioned earlier. What you can see on your screen right now, actually, as I'll give it away, is this is exactly how I'm doing this particular video. I've put together a mind map that I did on my balcony last night with a glass of red wine in hand on my iPad. I mapped out all the categories and the nominees and things like that. And then I'm now synced that MindNode over to my PC. Well, not my PC, my MacBook, sorry, MacBook Pro. And with my Yeti microphone plugged in, I am now just talking my way through this mind map using ScreenFlow to record the screen. I'm now going to dump that ScreenFlow file along with the mind map into Dropbox, and then my fantastic video guy Dom will grab that and create the slides and put the video together for you. So all I need to do to create some amazing content is sit on the balcony with a glass of red wine, put together a mind map, sit down for 15-20 minutes and record myself talking to the screen, which is just this mind map you see here. And that's basically the best technique that I've learned over the last sort of 12 months. It's allowed me to get a lot more content out to my various platforms and members and communities and places I'm a faculty member on. So that is by far the best technique, and unfortunately there couldn't be any other nominees in that category. Also too, as a side note, for those of you guys who are based in Australia, really recommend you check out the Challenge conference that's coming up in Melbourne 25th, 26th, 27th of February. It's my birthday weekend, so after hours will be a lot of partying, but during the day there'll be a lot of amazing education and stuff. And the presentation I'm going to be doing is all about leveraging using techniques. So I'm talking about that sort of technique and show everyone exactly how I do and create my content very, very quickly with a lot of leverage. So that is the best technique for this year's awards. Next comes down to best resource or product that was brought to my attention in the last 12 months. Now, you'll probably be guessing by now that a lot of the presentations and things and all the nominees weren't new in 2011, but they were new to me, which is what the criteria for these awards are. So best resource and product for the last 12 months. Screencasts Online is an amazing service done by Don McAllister over there in the UK. And Don does a fortnightly show now where he walks you through how to use particular Mac software. Everything from how to use Pages to Scrivener to ScreenFlow, and just about any sort of Mac software that you really want to implement and put into your workflow. He does normally about an hour long, half an hour to an hour long show of how to actually use the software. Very, very detailed, very, very in depth, and it's an amazing membership, and it's very, very cheap too. It's an annual membership for about $50 or something like that. So if you've got a Mac, I cannot recommend you highly enough this particular Screencast Online. Challenge Plus, faculty member there, but really do believe it's some of the best internet training at a very, very cost-effective price. In terms of the high-end products, Video Boss, I think, had to have been one of the standout products for the last 12 months. Andy Jenkins does an amazing job of delivering content. It is a jam-packed course, probably one of the most content-heavy courses of the last couple of years available in the internet marketing space, and it is just a phenomenal thing. So if he's ever going to launch it again this year, really, really get onto that. And finally, Mikkel Thomas, who unfortunately has passed away now, but was an amazing language teacher. I've started to learn a little bit of, or trying to learn some languages and things like that. No es aceptable para usted. I hope that's right. Through his teachings, I think it's a great technique of how to actually learn a language is Mikkel Thomas's various courses. In terms of the winner of best resource or product, to me it has to go to Screencast Online, purely because I live on my Mac and my iPad and my iPod, or my iPhone as well actually, more to the point. And really I think that Screencast Online is the must-have tool or resource or product, if you will, when it comes to Mac users, because it just shows you how to actually get the most out of your Mac and really increase your efficiency and effectiveness with the tools that are at your disposal. Next one we're going to go on to in terms of categories is documentary. Now it's a little bit left of center here, but look, I really dig my documentaries, and one of the ones was Tales from the Script, which is the first nominee, and it's basically the movie making industry from the perspective of the screenwriters, which is really interesting in terms of how movies are made and how they interpret how to write a script and what makes an engaging story. And if you're into creation of any form, whether it be writing a book or movies, or simply interested in just how to actually create compelling content for people that engages them, really I'd say check out Tales from the Script. It's not a bad documentary at all. Another documentary that I really enjoyed was Art and Copy, and it's basically about the advertising and copywriting industry in the US, and it talks about what makes a good compelling copy and what sort of engages people in the history of advertising and all that sort of stuff. And it was another really great documentary that I devoured through my Netflix account. Third documentary in the group would be Food Inc. The last 12 months of my life I've been really focusing on getting a much better diet and health and stuff like that, and Food Inc. was an awesome documentary that sort of opens your eyes up to the food industry and how it works. And the final documentary I've got here is Social Network. That was a true documentary, wasn't it? It was a very accurate tale of how Facebook was developed, wasn't it? Isn't it the correct story? No? Okay. Realistically though, the winner in this category has to go to Food Inc. in my opinion. It just stood out for me in terms of what is actually happening in the food industry and what's actually being put into your body. And there's the great old tale of you wouldn't feed crap to a $10,000 racehorse that you've purchased. You'd be really focused on making sure they get the right feed and stuff every day. But with your own body, people don't treat it the same, whereas that is your vehicle for life. And I really think that diet and exercise is a really important thing that you should be doing. Moving on to the next category, Person of the Year. Now, this is a bit of a strange one. It's not to me the person who sort of did the most amazing stuff or anything like that, but it's the person who influenced me the most in the last 12 months. And there's, again, 4 nominees in this category. The first one is Guru Bob. Rob Somerville has been a great support for me over the last 12 months. We catch up regularly for dinner at his place. He's a very wise man when it comes to everything from internet marketing to just philosophy. Great person to have a conversation with about movies. And he's just been a great support for me and an eye-opener and a bit of direction, which has been really appreciated. Second person is James Mundy, someone who is as far away from internet marketing as possible. He is my triathlon and running coach. He was actually my year 12 senior high school PE teacher, so I've known him for quite some time. He's been a really good friend of mine since then. He actually has opened up a bike store recently directly opposite my office in St Kilda here in Melbourne. So we've been to spend a lot more time together, and I'm helping him with his marketing and stuff like that. But the biggest influence he had on me in the last 12 months was took me to my first marathon. A little disappointed in my time. Had a bit of a blowout in the second half of the race. But back on track now. Got another half marathon in a few more weeks. A full one at the end of May. And then I'm doing the Busselton Ironman Triathlon at the end of this year. So that'd be about a 3.5k swim, 160k bike ride, followed by a 42k marathon at the end, all in one day. So that's my big fitness goal for this year. I may kill myself, but I will do my best not to. But one of the things that I really took away from the training with James over the last 12 months was the importance of a schedule and sticking to it. One of the biggest things that I found that taught me was a lot more discipline. I've always been quite disciplined, but going through the marathon training and sort of being up, at 6 o'clock on, the coldest morning in Melbourne's, 3 or 4 year history, and running along the beach at, 6 o'clock in the morning, or the coldest morning, it sort of teaches you a lot about dedication and commitment and stuff like that. And I've tried to sort of take those lessons and apply them to every part of my life. And I think it's sort of given me a lot better results. Continual improvement is what it's all about. Third nominee for Person of the Year is Davey J. Dave Jennings, good friend of mine, also sold the MCG, for those of you who know a bit about my history, which is quite funny. Didn't know each other at the time, but have become really good friends since. And with Davey J, we've done a lot of things in the last 12 months together, done a bunch of seminars and workshops here in Melbourne, which were phenomenal, and continue to do a lot more together. So he's been a great sort of, I actually call him a partner in some respects on certain projects. So it's been fantastic to work with Davey J. It's quite funny. Both our girlfriends think that they're dating both of us, given that we are so similar in everything we do, from both selling the G to enjoying fitness and internet marketing and stuff like that. So it's quite amusing when we all catch up for dinner. And finally, the fourth person in my Person of the Year is again Ed Dale. Reason I'm putting Ed as well as Guru Bob in this category is it's their wisdom and foresight that I use a lot in my businesses, in terms of a lot of the nominees for the various categories across these awards today come from insights that Ed and or Rob passed on to me. So they're definitely at the forefront, and I just ride their coattails in implementation. I wait, for example, when the iPad came out, I waited about 6 months before I purchased one, until those guys had played with it and hacked it and worked out exactly how to use it in your workflow, and then just leveraged off their testing, so to speak. So they've been great in that regard. Winner in Person of the Year has to go to me, James Mundy, in terms of he helped me really get through my first marathon and learn a lot about myself in the process. So it's been a good experience, and it's only going to get better this year with a lot more training coming up. The next category we have is Best Technology. Now, there's not a whole lot of explaining to do in these particular nominees. So let me just run through them. The iPad, we all know about it. We all love it. Once you get used to it, I pushed and pushed and pushed against getting one. Couldn't see how it would work into my workflow. But after sort of spending time with Ed and Guru Bob, I sort of really understood how it can actually play a critical role in my work processes. The Creative Vado is probably my personal choice for handheld HD video cameras. So if you're doing any sort of content creation, Creative Vado is a must-have tool. The Blue Yeti is the microphone of choice. It's a phallic looking symbol or device, and it's what I'm using right now to record this audio. But I think it is by far one of the best quality USB microphones. Value for money cannot be beat. And finally, the best tech for me this year, and actually probably not the winner, but is my hot dog maker. I got it from Flair for Christmas, and it's just awesome. For when I have my my junk trash days of food, it's my hot dog maker that gets me through the day. So that's a fun little best tech, but it's really made a difference to the quality of my life this year. But the winner for best tech goes to the iPad. If you asked me this question 6 months ago, I said the iPad would not be working in my workflow, but I could not live without it these days. It is just amazing what that device can do for its price point as well. So that is the winner for best tech this year. The final category for my awards this year is best book. Now, I try and develop as much content, devour as much content as possible. I mostly do this through audio because I'm running so much and training so hard. I do a lot of my consumption of books in audio format. Some of these books I'm going to mention are available in audio format. Some of them are not. Actually, do you know what? I think all 4 of these are actually available in audio format from Audible or Amazon. The first one is Getting Things Done. Now, this book has been around for a while, but I continue to use it and refer back to it and reread it on a regular basis. I just keep ensuring I'm putting in every single possible GTD habit, and obviously OmniFocus, which was in the nominee for best software, helps me really live the Getting Things Done philosophy. Second book of the year, or the second nomination anyway, is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. A great book about overcoming resistance and producing content. Third book of the year was Born to Run. It was a book that I loved to listen to while I ran this year. It's a story of a few American runners who head down to Mexico to run and learn from the Tarahumara, which is a Mexican Indian tribe that run marathons on a daily basis. And it's a really engaging book for anyone who's into sort of running on any level. I really encourage you to go out and check out Born to Run. The final book for the year that I really enjoyed was Linchpin. You know, I think everyone in the marketing space loves Seth Godin's work, and Linchpin was his book in the last 12 months that I really enjoyed. But the book of the year for me this year has to go to The War of Art. Reread and re-listen to that on a regular basis to really reinforce the overcoming resistance and creation process. So I think that's a must read for anybody who's in any sort of marketing, entrepreneurship type field. So that's it, guys. That is my awards for this year. Now, I need to come up with a better name. As I said, I love the idea of shit weasels, but I don't think it really fits the context of an award program. I'm going to try and do some next year when I do this, is do some sort of Teen Choice Award style categories where we can sort of have the best fight, the best villain, maybe the best hissy fit in internet marketing, the best sidekick. Well, that will definitely go to a mixture between Dom and Florence in my world right now. They've been amazing sidekicks. Best tour, best teen pop, best fantastic fan might be a good one for next year. But I do have one that I will mention in the Teen Choice Award style category, and that is Best Kiss. Now, for those of you playing along at home, you'll know that this image is more than 12 months old, but I still do love the Merlin Mann Ed Dale embrace. It is my nominee and winner for this year's Internet Marketing Best Kiss.